Welcome to the Raw Food Health Empowerment Podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Salmon, certified integrative nutrition coach and brain health licensed trainer. And today we're talking about this all or nothing mentality, right? We call that an ANT in my world in neuroscience, an automatic negative thought. So this is for the folks who say to me, I can't do it perfectly, so why try? Or they say, I'm doing so well, and then I end up at a family barbecue and I end up eating chicken, and so I just throw the whole vegan thing out. I throw the whole healthy, clean eating thing out the door. But why does it have to be this way? What is going on? We need to kill the ants, kill these automatic negative thoughts. So in the nature of true coaching, I want to ask you some reflective questions. So grab your journal, write this down, and actually think through this. If this is your issue, if you tend to be an all or nothing, if you're not perfect with your raw vegan eating or your high raw vegan eating or even your vegan eating, you're not perfect with your diet, or you're not perfect with your workout plan. You plan for 3 days a week and it's only been once a week. I need you to grab your journal, get a pen, and write down these questions and spend time journaling on them. What does perfect health look like to you? What exactly are you running towards? Okay, so the number one question, there's 5 questions, okay? What does perfect health look like to you? I want you to actually map that out, right? So typically I have my clients go through a process called the one-page miracle, where we map out what we want our life to look like. And in that mapping, we focus in on our health. What does our physical health, emotional health, psychological health look like? Our spiritual life, our spiritual health, what does that look like? What does that perfection, that ideal look like for you? What exactly are you working towards? And then question number 2, can you think of a time when a small change made a big difference in how you felt? A small change. Because sometimes we just need one. And if you've managed to stay consistent, let's say for 3 months, and before you struggle to even do 3 weeks, you have made major progress. The journey of change is not a straight line. It is like climbing Mount Everest. You are trying to achieve something pretty big for you. Because if it wasn't that big, you would have achieved it already. It's a huge goal. So think of a time when a small change made a big difference in how you felt. All right, question number 3. What's one small step you can take today that feels manageable? How can you give yourself a quick win? Okay, so for example, for me, when this is before veganism, I wanted to get into the habit of drinking more water, but I hated water. But I felt like water would give me clear skin. I was dealing with pimples, and I was using Clinique and all of this chemical stuff on my face. At the time, that wasn't an issue for me. I didn't know any better. Everybody else was doing it, But I wanted to get into drinking water, and how I figured out how to do that was like, okay, I spend most of my time outside of the house because I'm on campus. I was in college at the time, going to school, NYU, and I lived in Queens Village. So at the end of Q2, the last or first stop on Q2, so to get into the city, I'm getting on the Q2, I take it to the F train. I'm on the first stop of the F train, so I'm going all the way down from Hillside Avenue in Queens all the way to 4th Street to NYU's campus. So this is like an hour and a half commute one way. 2 hours coming back at night, because I would leave there around 8 o'clock or something, because I went to school full time, I had a part-time job, and I had leadership activities with some of the clubs on campus. So I had a full plate. So I'm like, okay, if I'm on campus more than I'm home, what I'm going to do is when I'm out, I'm going to drink water. And then when I'm home, I'll drink whatever I want. And it worked out the best way because first of all, I came up with the plan. When you come up with the plan, you're more likely to stick to it. So that's number one. Number two, when you buy refined sugar drinks outside on the street, it costs a lot of money. I used to go to Starbucks all the time and get like the hot chocolate. This is like, it's dollars, right? It's almost like a full meal, right? The amount of money that you're spending for all this sugar, that to me, at the time, I was like, this is contributing to my bad skin. I should be drinking water. And I didn't have horrible skin, but I did have pimples. I did have regular pimples. And my mom, the drinks at home, my mom is buying that. So I could save money. You know what I'm saying? She can buy the refined sugar drinks from Costco like she was doing and stock the house. And then I'll just buy the $1 bottle of water while I'm out on campus. So it was like a win. And because of that, doing that, I came up with the plan. I executed on the plan. That's important. And in that process, I developed a palate for water. I started to actually love water, to crave the taste of water, because now I was having so much more water in comparison to the sweet drinks. Okay, this is how you start. You start with one small step that just makes it manageable, and it just opens the door for everything else. Okay, so that's question number 3. Question number 4, how might you respond to setbacks in other areas of your life? How might you respond to setbacks? So you have this all or nothing mentality when it comes to healthy eating. But in other areas of your life, do you also have the same mentality? If you have a setback on the job, trying to get a promotion, do you just say, forget that, I'll just stay at this level. I don't want more money. I don't want more responsibility. I'm just going to stay at this level. Is that how you're handling things? How do you respond to setbacks in other areas of your life? And if you respond to it in a way where you find resiliency, you sit and find creative solutions to win anyway, then how can you apply that into the healthy eating realm for yourself? How can you apply that? And typically, where I get my best creative ideas is during my workouts, my low steady state cardio or my strength training. I have the time and the space. Or before, when I lay down for bed, I do my prayer. I pray, and then I think about the 5 things that went well. And whatever issues I have, I take that to God, right? I just lay it to rest, and then I wake up and God gives me the answer. Like this literally always happens to me. I don't go to bed overwhelmed because I know I have faith that I've done everything I could for the day. God is going to handle the rest. And then by the time I wake up in the morning, I have a creative solution. Okay, so the last and final question I want you to ask yourself, what's holding you back from starting with less than perfection? For all the folks who are like, I have to be 100% raw tomorrow. If you are dealing with a severe health crisis, then I totally understand that. And definitely, let's work together. Book a call so I can help you stay consistent with this. If you are not, and you're just doing it for kicks and giggles, honestly, all of us are eating this way because we want to avoid pain. We want to live a long, healthy, pain-free life. We want to be there for the people that we love. We want to just enjoy this life experience. And I totally get that. Perfection, though, is not human. Okay? No one's going to give you a cookie for being the perfect raw vegan. So if you don't have any health issues, then there's no sense in you actually creating a health issue because you're not perfect, right? Because when we start to beat ourselves up now, we are inducing stress. And if you keep doing that on a regular basis, that's now chronic instead of being acute. Now you have high cortisol, which throws all your hormones out of balance, which makes for an unhealthy brain, unhealthy body. Now you are triggering pathology in the body where one doesn't need to happen because you're already eating cleaner than most of the country. Now, of course, if you are in a severe chronic health condition, this doesn't apply to you, right? The fire is under you now to really push and motivate you in this area because you have First of all, and two, when you're in this situation, you have so many other things that you need to worry about and think about. Food should be the least of it. You just need food to feel satisfied, but it's not a party. This is not where you're having your excitement and excursions with food. You want to eat clean. And of course, there's a way to eat clean where you are totally impressed, totally excited, having a fun time. But when you're in trying to go through a whole healing process, we want to eat as simply as possible, right? As clean and as simple as possible to accelerate the healing process. And once you get to a place of homeostasis in your body, then you have a lot more wiggle room to play around, not to completely relapse into unhealthy eating behavior. But there's a lot of room to play and explore when it comes to clean vegan eating, high raw vegan and raw vegan cuisine. So I want you to reflect on these 5 questions if you are dealing with that all or nothing ant, okay? That all or nothing negative thought, that if you can't do the diet perfectly, whatever that healthy diet looks like for you, then why even try? You need to ask yourself these 5 questions. What does perfect health actually look like to you? What exactly are you beating yourself up over? What does that look like to you? And can you think of a time when a small change made a big difference in how you felt? What's one small step you can take today that feels manageable? And how might you respond to setbacks in other areas of your life that maybe can teach how to maneuver and proceed with this area when it comes to your healthy eating? And also, finally, what's holding you back from starting with less than perfection? What is that obstacle? What's that block? And if it's some toxic pairs, I want you to really reflect. I have never had pressure to be 100% raw vegan because I would say, I think I've said on videos before that was never the goal. And that's how I feel at this point. But I do remember at one point I wanted to experiment with being 100% because I was hearing that folks were losing their periods. And I'm like, word, you could do that? I want to do that. I hate it. Even though it's minimal and it could be a lot worse. I've heard stories of people, but just having it, like hemorrhaging, I don't like to see blood. I'm like, ooh, I could never work in the medical system. I don't like seeing blood. And I'm like, in my head, I'm just like, is there a possibility that you can ovulate without hemorrhaging? Is that possible? I know in the medical system, they're like, no, it's not possible. But I'm like, but is it possible? Because all of what we know is on people eating diets that are the standard American diet that is just full of toxic chemicals and so much toxicity that I'm like, is it possible? What I would love to see is a large-scale study on raw vegan women, maybe 1,000. I don't know what the number would have to be to convince the medical establishment of anything. If we had a study, if we had enough raw vegan women, and they did a study to see if it's possible to trigger it where you completely, because the cases that I was hearing at that time, I now understand the reason why they completely lost their menstrual is because their body fat percentage dipped too low. And for women, we do need a certain amount of body fat. Now, I haven't gotten to the stage where I could really test that, because even at 100% raw vegan, at the time that I was in that experience, I was not really looking at my body fat, my body composition or my body fat at that time. I wasn't paying attention. I was running a business, and honestly, I was fitting in my clothes, and I even dropped weight and had to get smaller jeans, just the next size down, and I didn't really pay attention beyond that. Obviously, I wasn't motivated enough to continue doing 100% raw to see if I would lose first, because that's the first test, lose the menstrual, and then see if I could still ovulate. But this is a study I would love to see done, just me personally. But the whole point of me sharing this story is really that you need to have a strong why before you do a thing. If you don't have a strong why, then you're not going to do it. All right. Until next time, I'll let you go. Take care.